Good day, everyone. My name is Gerda Verburg, and I'm the moderator of this event related to Sustainable Sunday, and it's called Good Food for All. I am extremely happy to have this event where leaders in food and nutrition and climate are coming together to share why good food is healthy and tasty, what it means to them. So we will have a little bit of their personal touch, but also they will come forward with very practical and pragmatic steps that each of us can take. Because sometimes we think that everything is very complicated. Food systems are complicated because so many things are involved. Farmers, the whole food value chain, etc., nutrition, climate, and that's too complicated. It is not, because wherever we start is the right point. But without further ado, let me call Dr. Agnes Kalibata to open the camera and to tell her, as the former, but to all of us, she is still the special envoy on food systems, to tell us what her favorite food is. Agnes, please come. Show your face and enter join the event. Good day, Madam Agnes Kalibata, Dr. Agnes Kalibata. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's very good to see you, Gerda. It's the beginning of the year, so it's really nice and exciting to see you after 2 years of intense engagement in the Food Systems Summit.
Very good. You are one of the conveners of this series, Good Food for All, together with the SDG 2 Advocacy Hub. Thank you for taking the initiative. But what does good food mean to you?
So that is something we debated for a very long time. What is good food? And what is good food for all? So when we talk about good food for all, we talk about what is not just good for us. Every time we talk about food, we think about people. No, it's not just about people. It has to be good for us as a people. It has to be good for our environment, and it has to help us prosper. It has to be important for our prosperity. So for me, good food for all is food that ticks all the 3 boxes.
Very good. And what kind of food did you bring today? Because we have invited everyone, and even I did my job, vegetables and some fruits and fish and bread, but it's very Dutch, I'm aware of it. But Agnes, what did you bring to the table today?
So since you decided to go Dutch, I decided to go Rwandan. So my food is beans. I'm not sure that you can see my dish, but that's right, there is my dish. It's beans with a little bit of color. I love color in food. So my food today is beans. Beans is one of the most important dishes in Rwanda. We eat it for breakfast, we eat it for lunch, we eat it for supper. And it is the crop that is the main source of protein for the population. And it is the crop that basically is a source of prosperity for lots of Rwandans. Rwanda also has the highest diversity of beans in the world. So we are extremely proud of the bean crop in Rwanda. So yes, today for lunch, I'm having beans.
Very good. Agnes, please tell me, because we mentioned already Rwandese and Dutch, etc. How important is culture when it comes to good food for all?
How important is, I missed the
culture.
Culture. Yeah. No, so culture is, there's basically no food without culture. So food starts as something we do to feed our bodies, but then it really percolates into our culture and it becomes part of who we are. So when I talk about beans being an important food for Rwanda, yes, we do it because we need the protein, but now it has become part of who we are. It's something that defines relationships between people. It's something that people used back then when they would go to wars. It's something that when you talk about beans in Rwanda, it goes back in history, and it really gets people to tell you stories that are based in Rwandan culture. And you find this in so many other cultures where different crops are important because they are used at critical cultural ceremonies, marriages, funerals, things like that. So our food becomes part of our culture, and our food becomes a symbol of how we relate with each other.
I have one more question for you, but in the meantime, I would like to call the other panelists also to open their camera, to start their camera, who is Mary Afan, and she's the president of Small Scale Women Farmers organization in Nigeria. Welcome, Mary. We have Cherry Attilano, and Cherry is an entrepreneur connecting many dots, but she will explain herself. And we are extremely happy to have Victor here, Victor Mugo. He is a youth advocate championing youth transition to climate resilient agriculture and agricultural entrepreneurship. And you will explain also later a little bit what good food means for you. But Agnes, one final question for you. How do we make sure that smallholder farmers, family farmers, continue to be at the table when the new food systems that is supporting people and the climate and our planet alike, that they stay involved and are not just kicked out of the room where decision making and design of a new food systems happen?
So we don't need to make sure, we actually have to make sure. We need them around the table. Smallholder farmers, say on the African continent, produce 80% of the food that is eaten on this continent. So yes, you need them around the table when decisions that impact how we use food systems, how we engage in food systems are being made. So besides producing food, they are using the environment. And we said good food is about environment as well. You want to make sure that they do understand and they have the means to be able to do the right things from an environmental perspective, and they do understand the impact of some of the actions they are taking and how they can work with the environment better. Today, 30% of the food smallholder farmers produce comes from new land. If we can work with smallholder farmers to have better productive means, meaning improved seeds that will increase their yields, ability to apply nutrition where there's no nutrition in their soils, ability to manage from an agronomic perspective, they can produce so much more with so much less. So we need them to be around the table. We need to ensure they have a voice so that they can voice out the challenges they have and the challenges they live with every day. In the Food Systems Summit, we did provide space that would actually allow producers to have a voice. I want to make sure that that voice stays alive because we need them. They have a lot of knowledge that we don't have. They have a lot of values around food and food systems that we don't have. Some of it we've lost. They have a lot of understanding around our biodiversity. I just told you about how beans have the highest biodiversity in Rwanda. Some of this is coming from smallholder farmers, and they will help you understand this. So we really need them. It's important to have them around the table.
That is exactly, Agnes, why you need to continue to be the special envoy for food systems, to make sure that small scale farmers will stay at the table, including, or maybe especially, the women farmers. We need your leadership, but from the 1st of January onwards, you're a volunteer, but you will be supported and your leadership is much appreciated. Cherry Attilano, you're the CEO of AGEA. Tell us very briefly, what are you doing? What is your enterprise doing?
Well, thank you very much, Gerda. Our enterprise is actually helping around 30,000 smallholder farmers in the Philippines. And we're really working on educating a lot of these farmers because most of them didn't have access to capacity building or training, no access to financial support, market linkage, and more importantly, sustainable ways in agriculture. So my company has a farm school where the technologies are actually based on teaching farmers who, even if they don't know how to read and write, they will learn technologies because it's from their own farms, and it was developed based on their knowledge, based on their learning. But at the same time, we're so big in women empowerment and sustainable agriculture in our company. I think we're leading in terms of supporting women and gender inclusivity and equality in the food systems. We're actually promoting Women Food Producers Association in our country. It's because for us, when women is in the food system, it really brings so much nurturing, so much sustainability, so much care to nature. And they really know that nutrition and also sustainable income generation starts in its own household. So we always focus on women empowerment in terms of course, bringing household nutrition and also making the household as agent to solve climate change. And for us, it's very powerful. And if they feel that they bring the best nutrition, they bring income generation in their family together with their husband, they are more effective agents of change and more effective partners for us to make our business grow.
Excellent. Very good. You know what? I'm listening to you. I put myself in the shoes of a women farmer. I'm also a farmer's daughter. Agnes and I, we are both farmers' daughters, so we know how it feels. But I put myself in the shoes of a woman farmer. How do we find your company?
So we have a lot of programs. Actually, we partner right now with local government units, and we're partnering actually next week. We're signing to 500 local government units with 200,000 member farmers, because what we try to do is we localize it, that every local government would advocate our work. Every local government would really make sure that they also support the women farmers we have. And they are also a one-stop shop information center on how to approach us. And aside from that, we have a very effective recruitment system in our farm school. And we usually really develop like communication development programs and reaching out farmers in far-flung areas done by the teachers in our farm school. So that these women, sometimes it's so hard for them to leave their farms because they're taking care of their crops, they're taking care of their poultry and livestock, and they're taking care of their children and running the household. So usually we schedule that our teachers will go to them. We call it community-based training and really teach them on the ground and in a cluster and consolidated level.
Very good. I have one more question, but first I would like to learn from you. What did you bring? What is your favorite food? What is your dish today?
My favorite food is actually seaweed salad with a lot of tomatoes and cucumber and greens, leafy greens. I was telling Gerda a way back that it needs to be squeezed with a local lemon. In the Philippines, we call it calamansi. It's only growing in the Philippines. And it tastes so good. So it's like a marrying of blue economy and also, the salad organic greens from our own farm. That's my favorite food.
Seaweed with local vegetables and lot fresh, and much smaller than this one, eh?
Yes, smaller than that one. It's called calamansi. It's very potent and very citrusy. So it's so good.
I can read from your face how proud you are, because this is also a cultural thing. Two more questions for you, Cherry. One is, where are you making profit? Because being a business, what is the profit in your model of working?
So basically, Gerda, when you cut the series of trading system in the Philippines, you can earn profit because we work straight with the farmers. And there's no layer of traders. So it's just like the farmers, us, and we also do value addition. And then we supply more on B2B. And last year, we also started supplying a lot of like supermarkets and online platform. And we're also growing this. It's because during the pandemic, so many online platforms were popping up, but they don't know the backward integration to the farm level. Most of them, they only know the technology on how to run like an online selling platform, but they don't know that it takes care that to put vegetables or livestock or poultry there, you need to go back to the roots. That's where farmers training and production on the ground, and that's where we're good at. So with a massive support of the consumer also, because of our work that we pay the farmers ethically, we also take care of our environment. We're practicing regenerative agriculture actually in our company. So we have a lot of consumers that they are supporting what we do. It's more of advocacy level. But at the same time, a lot of B2B companies right now are really shifting into ESG, sustainability. So we're capturing that very niche market, but very premium one.
Okay, very good. I would like to ask another question, but I think we need to move on. But I also think, Cherry, that we want to learn from you, because no country is the same. But if this is successful in the Philippines, business to business, farmers are business people. They want to produce something consumers like, but they also want to have a fair price for it that allows them then to continue and take good care of their soils, natural resources, climate, etc. So we need to do the cross-inspiration between countries and this exchange. And indeed, the COVID period has taught us a lot. We're not aware of everything, but meetings like this are very helpful in this. I hope we can come back to both of you, Agnes and Cherry. But we first go welcome Mary. Mary, are you there? Are you already connected? Dear participants, Mary Alum is a farmers leader, women farmers leader from Nigeria. She's connected from the rural area. The rural area is lovely, but sometimes you have some connection challenges. Mary, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good. My name is Gerda Verburg. I'm the coordinator of the Scaling Up Nutrition Movement. You're a women farmer leader in Nigeria. Nigeria is also active in the food systems transition. What is the role of women farmers, small-scale women farmers in Nigeria in this new design, new development on food systems? Over to you, Mary.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. I'm sorry for joining late. I've actually been having some challenges with the network, but I'm happy I was able to join. The problem, the contribution of smallholder women farmers in Nigeria, as I chaired all the 36 states, we are the producers of the food that is put on the table of every household. For the fact that we are smallholder farmers, from the farm, we take it straight to the market for people to be able to access to buy, to use in their various homes. And you find smallholder women farmers in the production across the value chain. You find smallholder women farmers in the processing of the food we produce. You find women farmers in the marketing and packaging of the food we produce. And we have actually contributed to the food security of this country. For the fact that we had challenges in owning land based on custom and tradition of Africa, most of the African country, a woman don't inherit land. What you do is you either borrow or you hire to produce. And sometimes you will hire land, you have put enough manure, the land is now very rich for you. The owner of the land will say, okay, I want to use my land. You have to relocate. You either rely on borrowing from your husband. They might give you a place that is not fertile, that when you even produce, you will harvest little. So these are the challenges we are facing. But sincerely speaking, in contributing to food security in Nigeria, women farmers are contributing to food security. That is why we have fought for gender policy in agric in Nigeria, and the Nigerian government have approved the gender policy. We have been engaging with our government that anytime government is about to distribute input to farmers, they should give us women farmers. In the past, they will share it to the men and they will not give it to the women. But we've been advocating that this input should be given, they should give us our own separate. And through advocacy, the federal government have been able to understand our issues and our challenges. So they have developed a women farmers, the gender policy in agriculture that says that 30% of all input that is given by government should go to women. We looked at the 30%, considering the work we do. We're even saying the 30% is small. Why not 50-50? We do much compared to what the men do. And that is what we are advocating. So the federal government and the state government are now looking into how will they empower women? How will they support these women farmers? We want the domestication of the gender policy so that we can be able to have a favorable condition that we can produce food to feed our country and the nation.
Sure. Mary, and don't apologize. We're more than happy to have you because you have such a powerful voice and you're exactly identifying the challenges that are not only there in Nigeria. I think there are many countries where women do not have access to land, are not able to own land, do not have access to legal services, let alone financial services, do not have the right level of input. So you are inspiring many other small-scale farmers, especially women.
Yes, there is an issue I wanted to share with you. Because of this challenge of land, in 2016, the African women gathered in Kilimanjaro. We had support from other European countries to climb that mountain, which is the highest peak in Africa, to be able to speak to the African Union government on the need to change some of these customs and traditions that deny a woman from inheriting land. If you are a female, they are sharing the inheritance of your father or mother, you are not part of it. And I was one of the climbers to climb that mountain to demand for women's land right. And it's something we have been pushing. It's a major, major challenge to us, especially in Nigeria. And we are still pushing, we are still talking to the government on the need to change the Land Use Act and the land law in favor of women so that we can, sometimes even if you have the money to buy the land, you are not allowed to buy the land in your name as a woman. You either buy in the name of your husband or in the name of your female son, your male son, which is what we are actually saying no. As a woman, if I have money, I want to buy my land, I should be allowed to buy my land. Let me own it, let me do what I want to do in my land. If you borrow land, you cannot plant crops that can last up to 10 years, like cash crop. You can't plant it. You have to be doing crops that you can harvest within 2-3 months because you are not sure when the owner of the land is collecting from you.
Mary, you're such a strong leader. We could go on for another 45 minutes. But yes, it's not the format of this event. But you certainly deserve all the support you and your women organization, Women Farmer Organization, can get to get it done. Because this is not the future for Africa. This is not the future for Nigeria. Gender disbalance, gender disequity, not having the real gender equity. So wherever we can, we will support you. However, you have been climbing the Kilimanjaro. What is your favorite food? Because you do not only need to be a strong leader, but also a strong physical woman to climb the Kilimanjaro. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food, I like rice.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of rice. Very unfortunate, I don't have the land to produce the rice, so I buy to eat. So the area I have, I produce vegetables, tomato, cucumber, carrot, because I stay in a very close to the riverine area where I have water for irrigation. And sometimes I do the rainy season farming and I do the dry season farming.
Very good.
When it comes to rice, which is my favorite food, I will have to buy and eat.
Yeah. All right. Mary, hopefully we are able to come back to you to have a further conversation, but we first continue with Victor. But thank you very much for joining. And in a few years from now, the connection with the rural area should be much better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay connected there, Mary. Victor,
Thank
you are a youth advocate championing a youth transition to climate resilient agriculture and agricultural entrepreneurship. Whoa, that is something. Give an example of what you are doing.
Thank you so much, Gerda. It's really great to be here and to be joining live from my kitchen. I just prepared a meal, and I was just reminded right now that cooking is not a gender role. It's actually a life skill. So it was just good to get into the kitchen and get preparing a meal that I'll be describing later.
So no, do it first, because you're actually practicing what you're preaching, which is great. What is your favorite meal?
Fantastic. As Dr. Agnes Calibert has said, and I know Chef Ali will be speaking about, East Africans have just a connection with their beans. And so I just created a meal with beans and as well some avocado, especially which is regarded as the green gold here in East Africa. It allows people to grow fruit crops, enables agroforestry. And I grow a bean. I'm also a farmer myself. So this is beans that I just came out from my farm. They are high in iron and high in zinc as well. Because we know that anemia as well as the lack of zinc is a challenge that faces very, very many people. And so this new variety of beans that is high in iron and high in zinc really helps to transition our bean varieties from just a subsistence crop to a market-oriented cash crop, but also enabling people to get healthier by the beans they take. As Dr. Calibata has said, East Africans really love their beans. Actually, they have the highest per capita consumption of beans across the globe. They eat up to 90 kilograms, actually their body weight in beans in every year. So it's a very important cash crop. And if you want to inculcate healthy and a sustainable way of eating, then the beans is absolutely the right meal to use.
Excellent. And now to your business. What are you doing?
Absolutely. So what we've discovered, especially from interacting with young people, is that there's really young people are having a challenge transitioning into agriculture. Majorly due to two main reasons. One is the negative perception that they do have about agriculture. So for myself as well, I grew up in a farm, but my aim was to study as much as I could so that I could get away from the farm. And so we already can see this negative perception, even with students who are taking agricultural courses. We did one survey with one of the universities with the students who are taking agricultural courses to draw or paint the first thing that comes to mind once they mention the word agriculture. So they drew a very old man, showing that agriculture is not for the young, but also is not for women, although women take a really big portion in sustaining our food systems. Then they drew the old man standing next to a grass-thatched hut, which is, of course, in the African society, a symbol of poverty. Holding a garden hoe, which, of course, shows little space for mechanization, little space for digitization, little space of technological use in agriculture. And lastly, under the scorching sun, just showing that agriculture is difficult, is manual, is backbreaking. And we can already see the perception that young people already have in this. But we've seen this continue to change with time. And so I think making agriculture profitable as well as something that young people would want to get into.
All right, how do you do this?
Absolutely. So we know that young people really do not have the structures of support so that they can be able to succeed as young farmers as well as agricultural entrepreneurs. And so these structures of support really require them to be connected to each other so that they can be able to share information, so that they can be able to share knowledge, so that they can learn from each other, from different country experiences. Then second is...
Wait. How do you connect them? How do you create this platform, this connection?
Thank you. So at Nourishing Africa, our work really is to use a digital platform that connects agri-food entrepreneurs across the continent. Actually, our aim is to connect about 1 million agri-food entrepreneurs from across Africa in one digital platform. And by not only just connecting them, but also providing them with the structures of support, showing them how they can be able to access finance, training them and providing them with capacity building so that they can be able to create resilient, profitable agribusinesses, and so that they can be able to contribute towards sustainable food systems.
Great, very good. How do you pay extra attention to the women situation? Because even young women are a little bit lagging behind, or are still lagging behind.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have noticed, especially even once we call out for applications, once we want to connect with them, that young women are sometimes shy from getting into these spaces. And so one of it is being very deliberate, very intentional about targeting young women. Because unless you do that, then it's difficult to get to them. And then by being deliberate, also providing them with structures of support that really connect, that are really pertinent to them. So for example, we've seen Mary speak about access to finance, access to land, and using innovative wins in which they can be able to access this finance, being able to access land and the productive resources that they need so that they can be able to grow their businesses.
Excellent, thank you very much. Dear panelists, I could talk with each of you for another 20 minutes, but let me hand over the micro to Paul Newnham to introduce a chef who has developed the recipe. Paul, over to you.
Thank you, Gerda. It's so great to see you and to also see this conversation. It's so great seeing Dr. Agnes. You've bought beans, and so have you, Victor, and just hearing from you, Sherry, and from Mary, just about farming practices and some of the gender stereotypes that impact our farming. So I am the director at the SDG2 Advocacy Hub and the coordinator for the Chef's Manifesto. And I just wanted to briefly introduce a recipe from Chef Ali. Unfortunately, Chef Ali is unable to join us today. And he did, though, send a recipe which looks at and showcases Kenya's rich bean varieties. And Chef Ali is a member of the Chef's Manifesto, which is a chef-led project that brings together thousands of chefs from around the world to explore how they can deliver a sustainable food system. And they're very committed to the Good Food for All campaign and been very active over the last year with the UN Food Systems Summit, and now taking that forward. Chef Ali has also been involved in IFAD's Recipe of Change program that aims to highlight the impact of climate change on farmers' livelihoods and our foods. And I think you'll see straight away that Chef Ali brings a lot of energy. And so we're going to play a short video from him, and this recipe will be available online that you can join and actually also cook along at home. And we'd love to see your photos of what you cook. But over to Chef Ali to show us his dish.
Hi everyone, my name is Chef Ali. I'm a chef from Kenya and a proud member of the Chef's Manifesto. Today I would love to show you a lovely recipe using some beans, and we're talking about red kidney beans. They are popularly grown in Rift Valley, that's in Kenya, very sustainable, plant-based, and you get your protein from the beans. Let's get to see the ingredients. So here we are. We have the red kidney beans, as you can see, and these are a staple in the country. People love them. So once I boil them, this is how they're going to look. They're going to look like nice. I love to make them nice and mushy like that, almost mashing. And then we have a couple of ingredients happening there. We have some sweet pepper, we have some tomato, all locally sourced. We have some onions, garlic that I just minced. We have a little bit of some cumin powder and coconut cream. First things first, what you want to do, you want to take your olive oil and then go into a pan over medium heat, or a pot. It's a wok over medium heat. Go in with your onions, and then you want to saute the onions until nice and soft. Fantastic. So this is very simple. This recipe is super simple to cook. Just want to add in the sweet pepper into the mix. Mix it up really well. Go in with your tomatoes. And all these ingredients are locally sourced from the market. The local market that I love to go to. I'm going to go in with some garlic. I love garlic. It flavors the food really well. And then now we're going to go in with our cumin powder just to get that lovely flavor into the mix. Mix it up. Once it's nice and fragrant, it's just going to be fantastic. So here's a little bit about the red kidney beans. So these are gluten-free. I love the fact that they are gluten-free, and then you get your protein. So you don't need extra meat to get your protein. You only need is some beans, and we love it in the country basically. We call them maharage, and they come in like 3 different types. Nyayo, I think rose, and surambaya. And also soya. Soya is very popular. They make milk out of soya, which is a plant-based milk and lactose-free. So fantastic. So I just love my beans. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Fantastic. So once your veggies look like that, you're gonna go in with your boiled beans. Look at those. I just boiled them and made them super soft and fantastic. Right? Look at that. That is amazing. God, now you want to go in with your coconut milk. I'm going to chuck a little bit of some coconut milk. A little bit of some coconut milk. So this is coconut milk that is locally sourced. Again, I live in Mombasa. This is the coast of East Africa, where we are very close to the ocean. So we get a lot of coconut. So most of our dishes have lovely coconut in the mix. And I just made this at home right now. And we are going to put it into the mix. Go in with the coconut milk.
So as you can see, Gerda, Chef Ali is very passionate about beans. And as we're watching, I'm getting hungry. And it's great to see how chefs like Chef Ali are using their platforms to talk about the products and the produce from smallholder farmers. And I think this is really important to see these kinds of partnerships come together. I don't know if you're getting hungry as well, Agnes. I'm not sure, seeing these beans. Is this the same sort of way that they are produced in Rwanda, I wonder? But yeah, Gerda, I'll pass back over to you to talk to us about this. But everyone can watch this recipe and see the full video online as well, and cook along with Chef Ali a great beans dish for your Sustainable Sundays. Over back to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. And indeed, my stomach is now telling me that it's time, because my eyes are really tempted by what our chef is presenting us. Agnes, are you creating meals like this in the same way? You're muted.
I mean, I'm coughing because our appetite are all activated. But yes, we do use beans in a lot of dishes and in a lot of ways. And that's one of the things that this Sustainable Sundays program brings out. really an opportunity to link with people where they are at in their cultures, in their love for food, and give them the opportunity to be able to express that while not forgetting the three things that are most critical when we think about our food systems. But I do have a few questions for some of our colleagues, if I may.
Please go ahead, because I like when panelists create the opportunities. But
yes.
Be short, to the point.
Very short, very short. I mean, everybody did amazing work. I loved the presentations. But Cherry, one of the things that stands out for me immediately is, are you working with young people? Is it just women? Is it young women? And how do we get to work together on something like that? One of the things I learned from the Food Systems Summit is just how much the knowledge we need and the models and approaches we need to use already exists somewhere. And the more we build bridges and opportunities to work together, the better. So I would be looking forward to that. It was good to hear Victor and how he's describing beings here in Nairobi. That is something definitely we have in common. And again, one of the things that Victor talked about that really got me going is this study about young people and how we get them more into the agricultural sector. So Victor, it would be really good to link up and try to understand, and again, from the work that is happening on the ground, where is the young people? Because we will not move agriculture sector forward in Africa. It's an knowledge-intense sector. As people get older, we need to ensure that young people, more knowledgeable people, are getting to the sector, but also that they are using their current knowledge to support older people. So that's really something that is important as as things are changing very fast. And Mary, I mean, it's just
okay, because you're so smart.
Let me just say this last one.
Just muddling in more and more.
The last one, very last one for Mary. I mean, Mary put her heart out there in terms of, and what she's done is amazing. And Mary, I have a team in Kaduna that really would be interested and happy to work with you on some of those challenges you're working with. If you look for Esther Agra Kaduna, you will definitely find her.
Mary, did you hear this? I think you heard it, but you're not able to reconnect. I also would like to talk to the people from the Sun Movement in Nigeria to join forces there to make this part of political advocacy, because a country like Nigeria cannot afford to continue to not treat their women farmers equal. And wherever this is happening, it's the first step. Give women the same access and the same rights as men have. Victor, can you briefly, are you able to answer to Agnes in a summarized way, and then Cherry? And then I try to make some closing remarks. First, Victor.
Thank you so much, Gerda, and thank you so much, Dr. Kalibata. Two things come to mind, especially in harnessing the drive of young people and then ensuring that they can be able to participate in this. One is we need to make agriculture efficient. One of the challenges that I see is that young people do not want to get into agriculture that does not put money into their pockets. So if we can show a definite path that once you get into this, there will be money in your pocket, then there's no challenge with making it into agriculture. So that transition from agriculture to agribusiness will be really important. Secondly, I think providing them with the structures of support that they need so that they can be able to grow. So capacity building, training, access to finance, access to land. Once we can have these productive resources so that they can be able to grow, and as we continue to break these limitations, then they can be able to, those who are already in the craft can already to start succeed. And once we create a narrative that once you get into agriculture, there's a path for this, then we will not have challenges with getting people into the space, young people into the space.
Very good. Thank you very much, Victor. Over to Cherry. You're muted, Cherry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Agnes, for that beautiful question on how to include the youth. I was sharing, we have a farm school, right? 5 years ago, we started with only 3% enrollment of young people in our farm school. And we really created like a huge campaign, including all the youth organizations, especially in rural communities, to enroll. Right now, I'm so happy to say that we increased it to 58%. But aside from that, last week, we just signed a MOA together with 74 state universities and colleges in the Philippines on how to increase the enrollment of people taking agriculture-related courses. But more than that, really including agribusiness in the process. Because a lot of young people, it's not exciting, or, you know, farming is not sexy if it's going back to how their grandparents are doing the farming, right? That it's a back-breaking a job, and it's like a one-way ticket to poverty. So for a lot of young people, we're actually innovating. We call it changing the narrative of agriculture by getting success stories and people who can really speak and share their, you know, achievements and business successes to these young people. And we're also creating a mentorship project, but at the same time, engaging the government in supporting these young people, that if they can create an idea for business, the government will give them a financial support, which is now happening. Our Department of Agriculture Secretary really approved funding for this. Young people can now have access to almost 10,000, minimum $10,000 grant for their idea. And if it's like for high school students, they can have access to at least 50,000 pesos or $1,000, you know, to make their idea prosper. It's a lot of collaboration work that we do, public, private, and other, you know, multi-stakeholder partnerships that we're doing to make this happen.
Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of this session. As I told you already, dear participants and panelists, we could discuss with many of you much longer. But I think the SDG 2 Advocacy Hub will bring the initiatives of the different panelists together, maybe on your website. But Paul, let me ask you to at least share the models and examples that were presented today with all the panelists. And then please post something on your website, because this is also the way of cross-inspiration and learning from each other, though every country has to do it and will do it in its own way, because it needs to be country-driven. 5 closing remarks. Producing food is about 3 issues. It's about healthy, nutritious food, it's about a fair income, and it's about maintaining our planet. So it's about taking good care of natural resources, biodiversity, etc. But food production, being a farmer, a women farmer, man farmer, it's a passion, and it should be a passion instead of what is happening currently too often, that it's a back-breaking, as Jerry put it, one-way ticket to poverty. No, farming should be attractive, making sure that there is recognition for the passion that a food producer has put into it. I mean, we saw the chef, and I could see the passion there that was talking straight to my stomach. But farmers also have a passion. So it's recognition, it is access, making sure that men and women have equal access to services and are equally legally equipped. For instance, access to land, starting material, etc. And of course, it's a decent income, a fair price, which comes with the recognition. Thirdly, it is about not only food production. We have dealt a lot with food production right now, but it's also access to the local market or access to the food value chain. Too much food is produced and not finding its way to the market or to the food value chains because there is a lack of storage, or there's a lack of starting the value chain close to where it is produced. And we all know that the food value chain, processing food, creating the lovely meals we consumers like to consume, can create jobs, and good jobs with good incomes can prevent migration, conflict, and poverty. Finally, I think food is culture. And I think here is something that producers and consumers should share. What is the culture behind food? And we need to learn that culture is always rich, its story, it's coming from the heart, etc. And to nourish not only the body and the mind, but also the heart can contribute to making this world a better place for everyone, leaving no one behind. And with this, dear panelists, thank you so much for being here. Paul and Agnes, thank you for organizing and initiating this. Say also a big thanks to your team, because they are behind the scene, all doing all the things. And I would like to bring this session to a close. Thank you so much. Thank you to all.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll have this live on the 27th. And Agnes, I just saw your photo. It's beautiful, your beans. We'll have to get the recipe.
You're definite. I'm going to send it to you, Gerda. I'm going to send it to all of you. Yeah, so that's the picture that accompanies the dish. When you say, what is your food? It's going to be there.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you.
You know what? Paul doesn't have the guts to ask you to cook for him when you are arriving in Dubai.
Ah, we could organize this. I'll see Agnes whether we can make it happen.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to. I was actually, when we were doing all this, I was thinking I have requested for an appointment, I think with about two heads of state on food on this program. And I was like, rather than ask them about their food, why don't I just ask them if they are human enough to cook?
Yeah.
And if they're human enough to cook, and actually have them put on an apron and make something.
I think that would be amazing. I think that would be amazing. No, we need to organize that. I think that would be great. Well, thank you guys. We'll edit this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Dubai, Agnes, next week. And we'll definitely get to eat together. Gerda, I thank you so much. I'm sorry that you can't join us this time, but it was good to see you in January. And great to see you, Sherry and Victor, and also Mary. So thank you guys. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Jennifer, for setting up such a great set there in the Sun office there. I assume it's the Sun office.
No, it's not the Sun office. We have a good office, but this is much more lovely. Actually, perfect. I have a view outside of the window on Lake Geneva.
Oh,
so I'm totally blessed.
That's great.